Hey, you guys, I'm Summer, and welcome back to my channel where we explore what it takes to really succeed in business and life without leaving connection or fulfillment or relationships behind. This is a part of my Teach Me Something playlist where I have conversations with experts who help us grow in the areas that don't always come with a manual. And today's conversation is centers around a paradox that many high achievers know very well: excelling in business while feeling stuck in and uncertain in relationships. I have Bruce Graham here with me. He's a certified relationship coach. He helps high achieving professionals like me crack the code of love. So, Bruce brings a rare mix of experience to his work. He has spent decades as a private investigator, a psychotherapist, a financial advisor, and a transformational coach. What a unique combination of identities in his background. But I know this has helped him to spot patterns that most people can't see in themselves and help them create real breakthroughs in their relationships. Today, Bruce works with individuals and couples who have mastered their careers and finances, but they want to build deeper and more aligned, intimate connections. Bruce, I see so many high achievers today. They are very strategic and disciplined and successful in business, but they struggle when it comes to intimate relationships because clearly intelligence and drive don't automatically translate into emotional connection, right?
Right.
So, from your work, what are the core patterns or blind spots that you see in successful people that make relationships harder? And of course, I also want to learn how can someone begin to shift them?
Beautiful question, Summer. It's the perfect question. It's the thing that has gotten them their success in business, is that they want to win. They strive to learn what they need to do to win. And it has given them lots of success, which feels good. The dopamine and the cortisol and the other, which is great. And they've got rewards for it. Mom and dad, their universities, their fellow coworkers, things like that. Everybody acknowledges them for their wins.
Hmm.
But when you have two winners trying to create a relationship, that dynamic doesn't bode well for the relationship
Mhm.
because the dynamic is if I win, you lose. And if you win, I lose.
Mm.
And then the relationship loses. So I always tell people that, when we're born, we're dependent. We're totally dependent, mom and dad and all the people around us and stuff like that. And we strive to become independent. And we're always being cheered on for developing independence. And then we meet and we marry or we partner up on a committed basis and we've achieved independence. But independence is not the height
Mm.
of maturation. It's
Mhm.
interdependence, where you each take care of each other while never losing yourself in the process. And the best thing is to start with a partner who values that. But
Mm.
most of us don't find our partners based on that. It's
Mm.
chemistry. He looks good. She looks good. Yada, yada, yada. We had some good sex, for those who have premarital sex and stuff like, and I think we could do this. I think we could really make a go of it.
Mm.
And we get married. We have these big weddings, and then life starts. I still go to my job. She still goes to her job. We come home. We've had stress, so we bring the stress home with us. And then we have little things that will trigger us. Oftentimes women make a nest and men don't know that she's making a nest.
Mhm.
I married, divorced twice. That's what set me on this journey. It was like, what the heck am I doing wrong? I thought I was really taking care of each one of them.
Mm.
And my first one, when it came to an end, I went and got a master's in social work with a specialization in clinical counseling. So I could figure out what to do. I learned a lot, but I didn't learn enough. And then my second one, it's like I wanted to have a child. She wanted to have a child. Therefore, we fit together. But
Mm.
a few years later, we didn't get along all that well. She
Mm.
had a certain way the house should be. And one of the things she didn't like is having anybody know I'm a private detective. And she was
Mhm.
afraid of bringing danger to the house. So we just didn't fit. We didn't talk about our long-term vision, values, things like that. So
Wow.
and when I'm working with singles, it's like, let's talk vision, values. And I've got this wonderful book. It's called Conscious Dating. And the author's guy, David Steele. And he is the one who created Relationship Coaching Institute, where I got certified. Brilliant, book. Very readable for the individual. But my son and I were talking about it last night. He says, Dad, I love conscious dating. I've given it to friends, I've given it to people, clients. It is a game changer. So it has you look at all the key variables that you need to develop
Hmm.
a dating plan, a relationship plan for you. And you begin to know yourself in a way you didn't know yourself before. So, and then for couples, there's another book called Radical Marriage. And
Hmm.
radical is not like bad, radical is going
Hmm.
from good to great, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
and it's a wonderful book. So those are two things that any one of your viewers could pick up and make a difference in your own lives.
Hmm.
Did I talk too
The
much?
descriptions will be in the chat. Not at all. Not at all. The
Okay.
descriptions will be in the chat for the books that Bruce wrote. And one thing I took away from so far is, haha, not independence, interdependencies.
Yes. Yes. My current partner and I am so grateful to her. We're together. April will be 19 years. My first two marriages each lasted 10 years. So this is like a total victory. We had, some of the same struggles I had with either one of my wives. And
Hmm.
she also was married, divorced one time. And we
Hmm.
would take a look where we were being positional. I wanted my position. She wanted her position. And then it was like, you know what? Our creation, like a lot of parents, our creation is our relationship.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we would say, hey, it could be either one of us. Relationship. And the whole idea is the relationship has to win. And
Hmm.
then things calm down and we could work things out.
I win, you win, doesn't matter. We win, that matters.
Exactly. I win, you lose, we both lose. You win,
Yes.
I lose, we both lose.
Yes.
Yeah,
Positive plus negative is negative.
you got
Let's
it.
talk about connection itself. You told me that you helped both singles and couples deepen
Yes.
communication, right? So, what are
Mm-hmm.
the fundamental elements of emotional safety and trust that people mostly overlook? And how can they strengthen that again?
I think what you just said, safety. We don't, those who are having problems don't think about safety. You know, in the literature, there's a lot about narcissistic men.
Mm,
Lots. I promise you, there's a lot of narcissistic women, but we don't call them narcissists. We call them whatever we call them. But each one's struggling. The guy comes home and maybe he even had a success. And I got a best buddy of mine. He's married 50 years. He can't talk with his wife about his successes. She
mm,
doesn't challenge him. She just tunes him out.
ouch.
And he wants to share with somebody. And so for years, he and I have gone for walks and talks and things like that. It's so interesting. Women, again, from the literature, women want to be loved. Men are dying to be respected and listened to. So that safety thing is how to create safety, again, without giving ourselves up. How do we
Mm,
negotiate that in between so
mm,
that you get taken care of and I get taken care of? How do we do that? And that's the
mm,
thing about safety.
mm,
Um, when I was coaching years ago I started in this transformational program, we would get like 5 people were coaching. And sometimes, people would be, I don't trust you yet. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to do this. So we had a
mm,
concept called teaching stones to talk.
mm,
And stones would be the people who are resistant.
mm,
And I had one woman one time, actually was a head coach. She was one of my coaches and she'd never coached before. She was beautiful, Chinese woman. And she was engaged to a Caucasian man. Again, both very successful. And it was the first time to have a conversation with her about her participants.
mm,
And how you doing? Right. Oh, anything going on? No. Anything you want to share? No. How are your participants doing? Great. Anything you want to
oh,
share? And that went on like 2 weeks in a row. When the people were the leaders, were good friends of mine. They said, "What the heck is going on with her?" I said, "I don't know." They said, "Well, it's your job to find out." That was
mm,
the thing about teaching stones to talk. So I need to create safety for her. And I love your question.
mm,
So when I talked to her that week, I said, "Let me ask you a question. If you could say anything to me that you wanted to say without any repercussions whatsoever, what would you say?" She goes, "Really? No
mm,
repercussions?" I
mm,
said, "No repercussions." She goes, "What I would say is, you effing Caucasian males, you don't care about anybody but yourselves. All you want is you want to succeed at your, but it's all you effing Caucasian males." And so I said, "Well, let me see if I have it right. You're saying that all of us effing Caucasian males We don't care about anybody but ourselves. She goes, yes. I said, anything else? She goes, no. I said, okay. So if I did care, what would I be asking you?
Hmm.
She said, you'd be asking me about my boyfriend and our upcoming marriage, and his parents are coming up to celebrate the 4th of July and they're staying with us. And I'm sure
Hmm.
his dad's a bigot. He's from a bigoted area, and he's going to try to break us up. I
Wow.
said,
Hmm.
so then I repeated that back. I said, so that's it. She goes, yeah. I said, so how about if we make our coaching time together 50% about your participants, but 50% about you and helping you overcome that challenge so that you actually create a wonderful, loving relationship with your future in-laws. She goes, I would love
Hmm.
that. I said, okay,
Hmm.
let's do that. So find out what really matters to somebody else and then let them know that you're going to help them with that. Who
Hmm.
would be offended? You know?
That is so practical. The story was funny. It'll be remembered for a long time, but
Yeah.
something to carry on with. Ask people about themselves. Make it all about them. That's what I've been learning for the past 20 years. Like, not always about me. The more I make it about you, you would start making about me, and we both win.
Yes, if, Summer, you're an excellent practitioner of that. I've dealt with you long enough and I've seen the other people that you support. So you are an excellent practitioner of that. So give yourself a
Thank
pat
you,
on the
Bruce.
back. Yeah. Yes.
Now, you talk about helping people crack the code of love. I would love for you to unpack that.
It's kind of like what I said before. If you're single and you've been disappointed,
Mm,
maybe you were married, divorced. All of us have trigger points.
mm,
And trigger points are like those places where we have neuroreceptors.
mm,
Medications work because they affect something in our body, oftentimes in our brain.
mm,
And if they didn't attach to a place in the brain or in the body, they wouldn't work. Emotionally, we have neuroreceptors
mm,
and we like to be right. Our ego
mm,
wants to be right. Our ego wants to
mhm,
survive.
mhm,
So if I've had a situation where I had a difficult time, like when I was a baby and somebody made a comment about me, you know, I make up something to survive the
mm,
world.
mm,
And then I get into adolescence and something, all I want to do is be like everybody else. That's adolescence. And then somebody says something to point out where Bruce is not like everybody else.
mm.
I make up a similar story. And I promise you, it follows through. And then I get into late adolescence, early adulthood. And then something happens where I'm alone. I can't get mom and dad, I get my boss. All of a sudden, I'm alone. And
Mm.
then that identity becomes cemented. So the whole thing is, how do we meet people and take some of our filters off? How do we
Right.
become open?
Mm,
And working with a coach, you don't have to. Those books I discussed earlier, they could give you a lot of information. You do the exercise, and by yourself, you could remove some of those filters or make them more open.
mm.
But to get rid of our filters, and frankly, some of our filters have given us our success, but our success tends to be what keeps us stuck at that level too. So
Yeah.
the more open we can be, but also authentic to
Mm,
what we won't put up with.
mm,
I work with women who were married or in relationship with alcoholics and it didn't work. Well, guess what? They don't want an alcoholic.
mm.
But when you go out for a date, how do you begin to feel comfortable? You typically have a drink or two.
Ouch.
So there's always this question. Well, if he
Mm,
took a drink on our first date, does that mean later he might take more drinks? So you got to know yourself. And that's the first place to start. Who am I? What do I absolutely like? What do I
mm,
want? What are my must haves? And what are my never agains? I won't tolerate them. And that's the thing. Get to know yourself
mm, mm.
and become a little self centered in a good way and help your friends get to know themselves too. It's not bad. It's what creates the groundwork for a sustainable relationship long term.
Mm. Yes, you're putting words to my feelings. Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
know how to articulate things. I've been married to my husband, Bruce, for 21 years.
All
This is the
right.
22nd year going on. And people ask us sometimes, so like, what's keeping you guys together beyond chemistry and good intentions? I say, I don't know. I haven't been able to articulate that into words. So let me ask you, from your expertise, Please tell us what skills people can develop right now to create these kind of relationships that truly thrive over time.
Stay curious. In other words, these people are coming
Mm,
to you and they're saying, Summer, what's your secret? And your answer right away is, I don't know. Go home. Silva, guess what? I want to have a conversation with you. Somebody actually asked me today, what's our secret? I would like to be able to formulate a response. So help me. Let's talk. What is our secret? And then you explore it together and take notes or keep a recording while you're doing it. But really, there's some secret. And the more you can reveal your secret, it's no longer a mystery. And then you can help other people too. So stay
mm,
curious. You got together with Silva at one point. Some people, I got together with two women that I eventually got divorced from.
mm,
And I knew what brought us together, but I didn't know what was going to keep us together, you know?
mm, mm,
And that's the best thing is in a quiet moment, there's no fighting, there's no children, there's no nothing. Who
mm,
are we for each other? And who do we want to be going forward for each other? What
mm.
lights you up? What lights you up? And that's the secret to a perpetuating relationship.
Beautiful. Now, I'm going to cut this part out, but when I asked him, what is that one thing that keeps us together? People are asking. And he says, we are both too laid back, easygoing, and too lazy to divorce,
Don't cut that
too
out because I
lazy to
can't tell
break
you
up.
lots of people. Yeah, yeah. But that's
Hmm,
beautiful because it indicates that no, there's something else. It's just not yet distinguished. But it's
hmm.
beautiful that you guys could talk like that with each other.
Thank you. Now,
Yeah,
love and relationships are not something that we fall into, it's something that we build together. Let's
yeah,
take this a little inward for a moment. How can people learn to spot the patterns in themselves? People talk about patterns, and these days I'm observing a lot of patterns in my business life, in my personal life, in my relationships. In your expertise, tell me how people can stop themselves from that creating sabotages in the relationships. Awareness is
great,
powerful only if it leads to change, right?
great questions. So again, be curious, be humble, be curious. And say, my commitment, like with that coach, my commitment was that she feels supported and she could open up and I could help her.
Hmm.
And then she could, help her participants. But so it's like be curious all the time. My current partner, I love her, when we would have difficulties at the beginning, and she's been through these transformational programs too. She says, I'm telling the truth.
Hmm.
And I said, Ceci, you are telling your truth. And I got it. You're telling, but the truth is subjective.
Relative. Yes. Truth is
Yeah.
relative. Hmm.
Yeah. You have your truth. I have, and it's the filters that we see the world through,
Hmm.
but we got to get real. Yeah. Whatever's our truth is not everybody else's truth, and it's like, that took a long time
Hmm.
to get past.
Hmm.
I'm telling you the truth. Because
Hmm.
again, she's had this transformational training where immediately you find out your truth. This is your truth. Um, but she was talking about it, and everybody else who's not talking is coming from
Hmm.
that supposition. I'm telling you the truth. Well, there is no the truth.
Hmm. Hmm.
There is your truth, there's my truth, and then there's something in between. And how can we together create our truth? And
Hmm.
that's the joy of a relationship.
The truth would be the universal truth, like the sun shines and the sun rises or whatever.
Yeah.
Rivers flow downwards. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce, this is a fascinating conversation. I wish I could just keep talking. People who have done so much personal and professional growth, but still feel stuck in their relationships, I hope they are listening to us right now.
I hope
You
so
guys,
too.
if this resonated with you, go connect with Bruce. Bruce, where's the best place people can connect you with?
The
Connect with
best
you,
place, the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I am
Hmm.
Coach Bruce. I write a newsletter. It's called The
Which I love.
Relationship. Thank you. And I'm coming out with a book, my first The Relationship Objective book in a series. So the whole idea is to raise relationship issues in a non-confrontational, non-threatening way that we can all see ourselves, through
Hmm.
the characters in the story.
Hmm.
And they're all fictional. I'm sure that they're happening everywhere in the United States and beyond.
Hmm. Hmm.
My son, one time we went to a movie, he says, Dad, are people really like that? And I've been in a lot of homes, I've seen a lot of suffering, I've seen a lot of fuss, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I said, Jeremy, anything you see, somebody has done it or is doing it somewhere in the world. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how disgusting it is, somebody got that idea because of something that happened.
Something that happened.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. And you're amazed sometimes when you see how other people live.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
You
it's
are
also a
right. I've
great
seen
time.
some of that.
Yeah, and it's a time where we thank God for our lives. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how frustrated we could be at times, it's like it can get a whole lot worse. So really give thanks. Have an attitude of gratitude.
Yes. You guys, this guy is not just a charming, good looking guy. He is very resourceful and really charming. You got to get in touch with him. All links for Bruce are down in the description. His bio is down there. Connect with him, explore his coaching and resources. If you're ready to bring the same intention to your love life that you're brought into your career. And if you're enjoying these Teach Me Something conversations, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Every episode that I have out here is here to help you grow smarter, deeper, and get more aligned in business, in relationships, and life. Bruce, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you, Summer.
You guys, I'll see you in the next one.